Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with some more MBTI. Today we are going to be diving back into the individual types, and this is going to be the INTJ and the alternate. So let's go ahead and dig in. The INTJ is going to be guided in their divine slot by the NI. It's going to be all about the best possibility. This is a correspondence with an INFJ. This is seeing the best path forward, the best possibility possible. This is guiding the tribe. The whole point of having this function evolutionarily is to pick the best option for everyone to do. Now, whether you do that for yourself like an INTJ or if you do that for the tribe depends entirely upon your stack, but that is what the function is for. TE is going to be very concerned about other people's thoughts and rationale. So you're going to pick the best possibility according to what everyone thinks. You're going to take into consideration what everyone thinks, and you're going to feel responsible for making sure that everyone thinks in the correct manner. Everyone needs to see this one best possibility. And if you don't see this one possibility, then you are wrong. You are going to be focused on your morals. If you're an INTJ, you're going to be very defensive over your morals. You're going to be very much concerned about what you feel about the situation. And you're going to feel that everyone else is not thinking what they should about this one possibility. For the alternate, that's going to be SE. You're going to be very defensive over all of the things and exploring new options. And what other people think about that as the best possibility. For the throat, it's going to be SE for the INTJ. They're going to be very concerned about the current things in the exploration. They're just not going to be very good at it. That's the inferior slot. It gets very low wavelength right there. It's been filtered through 3 other functions or 4 other functions before it gets there. So you really just miss it a lot of the time. You think you're doing great with having all the new things and knowing what the new things are and seeing the actual possibilities. It's about right here, right now, these things. These are all the things right here. But for the alternate, that's going to be their morals. They're going to be missing their own morals. They're going to have a hard time aligning with what they feel is the right thing to do. They're going to do the wrong thing most of the time because they are more concerned about other people's thoughts and other people's experiences than they really are about their own morals. In the hard slot, we've got the NE, which is about future possibilities. It is seeing forward into the near future. NI is the far future, the best possibility, the best possible outcome. NE is the near future. What are the things that could possibly happen now? This is going to be your hard slot. You don't receive a lot of information right here. This is right in the middle of the wavelength. These 2 functions right in the middle don't receive a lot of the information. It's been filtered through the other ones before it gets there. In the solar plexus, it's going to be your personal thoughts and logic. So this will be your critic. This will be what you kick yourself over. It's going to be your own logic, your inconsistency, more than likely. How your own thoughts don't line up with what other people's thoughts are, but that you're going to go along with other people's thoughts anyway, and you're going to kick yourself behind that. In the sacral, we've got FE for the INTJ. That means that you're going to be very much, the FE function is other people's feelings and future feelings and ethics. It is what everyone has come together and decided is the right thing, whereas morals is what you have decided is the right thing. And so in the trickster slot, you are going to get tripped up by what everyone feels is the right thing, especially since you pay so much attention to what they think. But for the alternate, that's going to be the SI. That's going to be what has happened. You are going to get tripped up by what has happened. You are going to miss the actual past data. You're going to miss the things that have happened before, and it's going to trip you up. For the base, it's the opposite. It's going to be SI for the INTJ, and it's going to be what has happened. You're just going to completely get wrong and get stuck in. You are going to be very concerned about what has happened in the past and never going to be able to get past it. Whereas for the base on the alternative, that's going to be FE. And you're going to be very concerned about what other people feel and not going to be able to get past it. You're going to get stuck in that energy. How do we go about integrating this? This is the important part. All right, so for an INTJ with an SI base, you're going to need to take the time to consider past events. You're going to need to dwell on them and think about what has happened to you and how it made you feel, right? And how it made other people feel more specifically. Because in order to balance this one, you've got to kind of get both of them. You want to start on the SI, spend a week there, identify all of your problems, look at what you could be doing better. For the SI, that's going to be narrowing down the possibilities of actual things, right? That is going to be what has happened and drawing the correct conclusion from what has happened. You're not going to be very good at that. You're going to think you're great at that, but it's actually going to feed the wrong things and you're going to get stuck there. You are constantly going to be remembering that one time you got beat up in second grade. You're going to be remembering that one time that you got rejected in sixth grade. You're going to be remembering that one time that anything along those lines has happened. Now, it may be that you're stuck in the happy side of that, and it is a happy experience that you just cannot move past. Your spouse or significant other one time treated you better than anybody else on the whole planet. But ever since then, they have treated you like absolute dog crap. But you won't be able to see the absolute dog crap because of what has happened in the past. You're stuck there. You are focused entirely on the past. Start looking towards the present. Start looking towards the future. Try not to dwell so much on the past. Own it. Understand what happened and why it happened and how other people felt about it. But let it go. Like act like Elsa. Just let that shit go. Because holding on to the past is keeping you rooted in your base. Don't do that. For FE, for the alternative, if you're going to try and integrate your base here, you're going to need to stop and consider other people's feelings. You really, 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 really are bad at that. You just miss it, right? Or you get stuck in it. And getting stuck in somebody else's feelings or what I did made them feel this way. Whether or not it really did, you think that it did. And because you think that it made them feel like crap that one day, you will kick yourself for 30 years for that action. Well, stop doing that. You probably didn't ask them how they felt about that situation. Therefore, you don't really know. You don't have the actual data from the SI. You don't know what the actual, you know what happened, but it's tripping you up. And you're feeling that other people felt bad. Not even, not that you felt bad, that's in your throat, but that other people felt bad. And that is what's keeping you back, that you made someone else feel bad. Or you're remembering entirely this one time I brought a keg to the party when I was a junior in high school, and now for the rest of your life you want to bring a keg to every high school party. Well, the problem is that now you're 40, and you're no longer supposed to make other people feel, E-F-E, you're no longer supposed to make other people feel good about you bringing a kegger to a high school party. That's that type of energy. You can get trapped in the good part of that, where you feel great, but you're doing the wrong thing, or you feel really bad without all the information. Both of those is not having all the information, by the way. If you're bringing a kegger to 10th graders and you're 40, you don't have all the information. For the sacral, this is your trickster energy. This is what's going to trip you up. And for an INTJ, that is going to be FE. You are going to get tripped up by other people's feelings. You are going to be very concerned with the SI, what has happened, and how it made other people feel. And how it made other people feel is what's going to trip you up. Uh, you're going to misinterpret other people's feelings. Where an alternate is going to miss it and not really understand, you are just going to misinterpret it the wrong way. You're going to think that you made someone feel really good when you made them feel really bad. Uh, and so you need to take the time to stop and consider that. You need to take the time to stop and consider how your actions and your decisions are making people feel. It's really that simple and that complicated because it's hard to consider other people's feelings for some people. You're not empathetic. If you're a TJ, you're not empathetic. You don't have a whole lot of empathy. That's not a bad thing necessarily. Their empathy serves a purpose, and I'm highly empathetic, so I think everybody should be empathetic, but that may not be your journey. Some people are meant to make the hard decisions, and if you're not that empathetic, you can make harder decisions than other people. But you still need to work on that. You need to balance that. You can make the hard decisions and take into account other people's feelings. Now, for the alternative, the sacral in the trickster energy is going to be what has happened, right? You are going to miss or misinterpret what has happened. You're going to say, okay, well, this person did this thing, right? And it made everyone feel great because that's your focus on their demon. But in actuality, they didn't even do this thing. Right? You just thought they would because they said they would. You took their word at it in your TE and just assumed that they would do it, and they didn't. They didn't even do it. Or that event never happened. Or that information is just wrong. And so you need to take the time to actually consider the actual things in front of you. You need to take the time, instead of considering what has happened and really misinterpreting it, look at the evidence in front of you, like right now, right in front of you. The things that are actually here. You're better at that anyway. So just take the time to do that. Worry about that. Like if you're going to worry about something, worry about your trickster. Worry about your demon. Because that is what's going to trip you up. But if you take the time and you integrate it, you make sure that you're paying attention to what has happened in the past. Like the path forward always depends on where you came from. And so if you're not paying attention to what has happened in the past, you can't progress forward like you really, really want to do. The solar plexus is going to be what feeds you. This is going to be the same for both of these types. And it's going to be TI. It is personal thoughts and logic. This is going to feed you. If you are logically consistent, because you're taking in everyone else's thoughts in your TE slot, and you're feeling responsible for everyone else's thoughts in the TE slot, it is very important for you to make sure that you are logically consistent and not just doing what the TE says. And so take the time to make sure that your logical thoughts are based in logical fact. Make sure that the yes-no questions are answered and answered correctly, because if you do that, then it feeds you and you actually get a real firm grip on life. And that will allow you to work into your heart, because your heart, you're not getting a whole lot of information. That's in the middle. It's going to be the same for both of them, right? This is what holds you together. This holds your baser instincts and your more divine instincts together into a human being. This is where you're meant to reside. It's what you really, really want to do. And what you really want to do is help find the future possibilities. You're really good at looking at the best possibility from the available evidence, but you really like to pick a bunch of them. Like you don't really want to do that. You're really good at it, but you really want to put that forward, right? You want to explore the new ideas is what that's about. It's future possibilities. It's foresight and what could happen in the near future. And so if you're healthy in your bottom, with your TI, your SI, you're logically consistent, you're looking at the evidence, and you're considering other people's feelings, you can help them to do what they need to do. For the throat, for the INTJ, this is going to be the SE. This is going to be the current things and exploring the new things. But you are going to have a hard time communicating the new things. You're going to be very good at talking about what everyone else thinks about things. You're going to be very good at choosing the best option. You're going to think you're very good about having the best or having all of the options arrayed before you. You're going to think you're really good about executing the physical things, building things. You're going to think you're great at building things. You're probably not. You probably mess it up just a little bit, every single time. Everything is, yeah, that'll be good enough. It's not, that's right. And so you miscommunicate, right? You're not completing the task as needed. You're not finding the things as needed, but you think you are, so you're miscommunicating that. Take the time. Stop and consider. Am I actually looking at all the best options? Am I actually looking at the things in front of me in a way that I can use them to make decisions for my future? And when you start taking the time to do that and you actually are looking at all the options, right? You've already done your SI and your FE and your TI and your NE, and now you're working on the current things. What is right here in front of me? Let me just take the time to make sure I am actually looking at all the things. I don't need, like, if you're looking for a car and you're looking for a sedan, you need 4 doors. You don't want to just check out 2 car companies. There's like 15 of them. Look at all 15 different types of 4-door sedans. See which one is actually the best option going forward. That's going to help you all immensely. And work on communicating that. Getting the feedback from your SE is quite important because it is about giving the sensation to others. It is about helping other people to experience the new thing. And so communicating that will give you the feedback to help you understand if you are actually looking at all the new options. Chances are you're looking at most of them. You're just missing probably the most important one. For the alternative, this is going to be FI. This is going to be your own feelings and your own morals. And you're going to have a hard time standing in your morals. You're going to have a hard time saying, no, I think that's a bad idea. I'm not going to do it. You're going to want to, because of your crown in your third eye, that TESE loop right there. You're going to want to listen to everything the tribe says and then give them a good experience about it, especially with that being a third-eye child. Like that's defensiveness, right? And so because you want to listen to what everyone's thinking and you want to give them a good experience, you are not going to be very concerned about your morals and your feelings. You're going to think you are. You're going to think you're standing in your morals. But what you're actually doing is standing in their rationale. That's what you're doing. You're not really doing what you feel is best, and you know that. I don't have to tell you that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're just going along to get along. You're very concerned about feeling good about doing what they want. So take the time. Make sure that what you are doing is actually what you want to be doing. And this is a moral thing. This isn't about your job necessarily, but maybe the decisions you make in your job. If you're a cop, for instance, and you don't like some of the laws that you are forced to, as part of your profession, enforce. But everyone has decided that that is what needs to happen, and it's going to give everyone the best experience, so you're going to do it, even though you don't think people should be locked up for that, whatever that may happen to be. Take the time, and if you really don't think that they should be locked up for that, then you have a very hard decision to make, right? You have to decide whether or not you're going to go against your own morals, fully aware of what they are now. So you may wind up in a very bad spot with that. I hope that everyone lives with the integrity of their own morals. That is the best thing for me that you could possibly do. And like, I'm an FE dominant. I want you all to live in your morals. So take the time, consider your morals. Think of why you stand for what you do, and if what you do in your life is consistent with what you stand for. The third eye is going to be your defensive spot. This is your child spot. This is where, don't mess with me. Right? And so for the INTJ, that is going to be your morals. Whereas the FI in the alternate is in the throat. They miscommunicate that. They don't really stand on it. You do. Yeah, you do. You're like, nope, not doing it. Nope. Cannot make me do it. I don't care. Nope, not going to happen. As long as, or more likely, you derive that from your TE. Like you take what the tribe has said and stand on it as your morals. Now, chances are, in your third eye slot, you're not just missing it. That is your morals. You have considered it. But you've probably missed some of the data. That's your SI demon kicking in. Or you've probably missed how your stance and your morals affects how everyone feels. That's your FE and your sacral right there, and your trickster. And so that's where you need to work. You've already done the work down below. Now you're cross-checking. You're cross-checking your FI with your demon and your trickster. You're saying, okay, have I looked at all the possibilities? And if you've looked at all the possibilities, how does everyone feel about these possibilities? Not what they think. You already know what they think. How do they feel? You need to consider that. How do they feel about what my morals are? If you push your morals on other people, and chances are, if you're here, that you do. So take the time to not do that. Yes, you're responsible for what everyone thinks. That is what your crown slot is. It's where you're responsible. But even if you're responsible for what they're thinking, you don't get to change their morals. They are sovereign humans, just like you are a sovereign human. They are allowed their own decisions and their own morals, even if they don't align with yours. You do not have the right to change someone else's morals simply because you think it is the best, or that you think everyone else thinks that it's the best. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to let other people know what everyone thinks. The third eye slot on the alternative is going to be SE, and that is the current things in the exploration. So you're going to be very defensive over the current evidence. You're going to be very defensive over the current options. You're going to be very defensive over finding the current options and exploring the area and completing the task and giving the sensations. That is what SE is all about. And so you're defensive over what everyone thinks is the current options or the current things. This is separate from feelings. This is about the actual things. And so you're going to push back against people who are narrowed in on the one thing, as opposed to here are several options that can have an equally equitable outcome, right? Like there may be different options for treatment in a healthcare situation, and you are going to get very mad at the people who say there is only one option. You're going to get very upset with that. You're going to push back against that greatly. Now, there's a possibility that the people that are telling you that are right. There's a possibility that is wrong. It depends entirely on which part of the tribe you decide to listen to. You're all about giving this all back to the tribe, and you're very concerned to make sure that the tribe is thinking the right way. And so you see these options as them thinking the right way. If I give you these options, you need to look at them right now because these are the options. And you get upset when someone tells you, no, there's only really one option. In things, not ideas, but in things. Like physical things that you can do now. There's only one way to fix this house. There's only one way to tow this car. There's only one way to skin this cat. Whatever it happens to be. You know that there are more than one ways. So you feel responsible for making sure that everyone else thinks about those things. Which brings us into the crown. This is where you feel responsible. You personally feel responsible that everyone knows the correct rationale. You feel like you were put here simply to tell other people not necessarily what they should think, even though that's really what it is, but to make sure that everyone understands the rationale behind the decision. That's what the NITE Crown Divine Energy is. You're making sure that everyone understands, that is your responsibility, about why you're picking the best possibility. Picking the best possibility is what you're meant to do. Explaining to others your rationale is what you're meant to do. You have to take the time to make sure that you're not being overly pushy with it, though. Other people have the right to make their own decisions, and you feel responsible for making sure that they make the correct decision. Well, their correct decision and your correct decision are not necessarily the same decision. And so you have to realize that you don't know everything. Your logic is probably not consistent unless you've been working on your stack. And so you're choosing the best possibility most of the time, no doubt. You're even explaining it well most of the time, no doubt. But you have a tendency to think that yours is the only rationale. I've already considered everyone's possible rationales, and this is the only one that makes sense. You're going to have a tendency for that, so that you need to rein that back. You need to balance that swing on that pendulum back towards the middle. Consider other people's thoughts, even outside of who you consider your tribe, because tribe does not necessarily mean everyone. It means the people that you consider your tribe. It could be your family, more than likely, but it can be the people you work with. It can be the people you hang out with, the people in the bar. Whoever it is that you identify as your group is who you are going to take as the authority in your TE. So you need to take the time to consider the people who do not agree with you. You need to take the time to strongman their arguments. Make them as strong as possible. Give them the best possible argument that you can formulate for them. And then argue the other side. Taking into consideration their thoughts, because you really are meant to do that. You have a tendency to not, simply because you think you do it already. And you do it kind of well, but you do miss some of the other stuff. And then finally we get to the divine. This is going to be the same for both of them, and it is the best possibility, right? They're just choosing the way to go. That point right there is where we're going. We're not going over here. We're not going over there. We're going to go right there. And you are right 90+% of the time. Most of the time you are making the absolute correct decision with the information that you have. Your tendency is going to be to miss other people's feelings and the actual things that have happened. So you're going to have to take the time to consider that, because those times that you miss this, it is a catastrophic miss. The times that you miss this can lead to super bad consequences. So always take the time. Yes, it is a superpower, almost, right? Like, it's not really a superpower. You can crash through a wall with it. And it is fallible, so it's not like it's the absolute divine, because you have to interpret it. But you are right most of the time, as long as you're taking into consideration all the other things. For the best possibility too, you're going to need to make sure that you're looking at the other possibilities. It is possible, just like it is in the demon or the base, to get trapped in this energy. It is overwhelming. It is too much sometimes. Sometimes you can only see that one conspiracy that eats you alive every day. You wake up every morning and you check TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and whatever platform you happen to use for the latest information about this one conspiracy theory that you are very honed in on. That is NI energy. And so If you're trapped in that, it can be overwhelming, right? You're not considering these other possibilities in the heart because you're not seeing them. It has to filter through the rest of the stack to get there. So the wavelength is really low. You're not picking it up well. You have to be intentional about picking it up well to stop and actually consider what are all the possibilities. What has actually happened in the past? And what are the actual possibilities going forward? Yes, you need to consider feelings, and yes, you need to consider thoughts. But in order to make the best decision that we, as a group with our rationale, need to go in this direction, and for you to be right, then you have to be balanced through this stack. Now, if you do get balanced through this stack, you can be a very helpful member of society, right? The INTJ and the INTJ alternate with your heart and solar plexus is going to be logically choosing the best possible scenarios, like the close scenarios. You're going to see the farthest, but you're going to be the best at seeing. You're going to be the most fulfilled, not the best, but you're going to be the most fulfilled when you're actually seeing the other possibilities. So you could be taking a hypothesis and formulating the actual experiments, probably not with SE that low, probably not actually conducting them, but figuring out what they should be is going to be a high thing for you. Taking a career counselor route, or a guidance counselor at a school, or an administrator at a school. And if you're balanced with this, you are looking at things through a logical lens and through the rationale of science and whatever other rationales, and you're choosing the best possibility to guide something forward. And because you're looking at all the possibilities and you're fulfilled with it, that's where you're really going to feel your nourishment. Like the NETI is fulfillment and nourishment. So if you're balanced in your stack, if you can use your logic to choose several options to go forward with, knowing that one of them is probably the best, but that there are these other ones to explore, you're going to be fulfilled with that. I don't really like to give, like, you need to be in this particular profession, you need to have this particular spouse, because you do need your sexual energy and your sacral. Like, you do need someone to help you fulfill that. So where you are lacking FE or SI here, you really need to find somebody who is a little bit better equipped with SI and FE. And they help balance you out. But I'm never going to tell you that you can only have the one job. I'm never going to tell you that you can only choose the one type to be a partner with, because that is dumb. Like, that is attributing horoscope type of stuff to this, and this don't work. All right, let's wrap it up. I hope that I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to a not too complicated topic. Like, this really, if you grasp the basics and you look at this in a logical manner, it really is just like, okay, I can see where this affects me in my life and how I can change me in my life. This isn't about changing anyone else, although it can definitely help. It's not about manipulating anyone else, even though the tools are here for that. It is about self-improvement and doing what you need to do to make you better, to make you feel better about you, to make you have a more purposeful life, and to be fulfilled in your job, in your partnerships, in your relationships. All of these things are vitally important to your health as a soul, as the entity riding in the meat suit. And so I hope that I brought a little bit of enlightenment to help you get a little bit better in you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'm always happy to answer questions. I like the comments. I may not respond to all of the comments, but I do read all of the comments. I do at least try to heart all of the ones I even slightly agree with. And so drop them down below for the algorithm. If you like what I'm doing, like, share, throw me a follow. Y'all can't see that. It's on the other page. But like, share, and throw me a follow. Give me all of the algorithm things to help me get out here to help more people, because that is what I'm trying to do. Help more people. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. I love you, and until next time, this has been Pitt. Peace.